Hey guys, Fi here. With preseason finally coming to an end soonish, kind of, I thought we could take a look at which champions have risen up as the god tier for gold, silver, and bronze ready for season 8. I might do one of these every couple of patches if things change enough. A lot has changed from my last one I did in season 7, so let me know if you want to see that. The reason we're going to be looking at gold, silver, and bronze though is kind of low elo is because platinum, diamond, and above and stuff tends to be very similar with the meta and stuff. Below that though, they can be different for each tier, so we want to check out each one individually. We're going to start with gold, then we'll go to silver, then bronze. Finally, we're going to do top lane, jungle, mid lane, AD carry, and support. So literally just moving down the map. For the top lane then, we have Yorick, Temu, Nasus. We also have others tanky stuff like Malphite, Maokai, Ornn, and maybe Alawi as well. Early game is more important as a top lane player at these ranks, but so is roaming and using that lead afterwards. Even Nasus had his best win rate early game, which makes absolutely zero sense, but it shows you just because your champion isn't supposed to win early doesn't mean they can't win early. Ornn is a little bit weird. He doesn't have a good win rate anywhere, but he could definitely fit in here. Yorick and Temu are the typical annoying champions to face. They're very good in the lane phase. If they get ahead, they will literally steamroll over you and they will take your tower and dive you a lot. Alawi, most people don't even know what she does or how to play against her, and that is a really big advantage for you. It doesn't take too long to learn her anymore either. Malphite and Maokai, like the first 30 minutes of the game, your tankiness means you just don't die, and that's so good. In the jungle, we're going to have Shyvana, Xin Zhao, Udyr, Warwick, Rammus, and Jarvan. We're picking champions that can either gank well, farm well, or just tank and kill stuff afterwards. Shyvana and Udyr, but also kind of Xin Zhao, follow the farming side of things. It's not just an AFK farm the jungle. It just means that because they farm so quickly, they can then gank afterwards even more. You don't have to choose between farming ganks basically. You can do both. You're also amazing 1v1 to duel people and have a lot of damage. Warwick and Rammus are very forgiving. If you make a mistake, it's not likely to cost you the match, honestly, and these are great team picks to get carried with as well. There's nothing wrong with that. They can do a lot of damage still early game, which is why they are so good though. Jarvan is more the gank side of things. You favor like pressure with ganks over your farming. You should snowball games that way by camping people, getting lanes ahead, and then bursting everybody in team fights. For the mid lane, we have Malzahar. We also have poke champions like Xerath, Ziggs, and Lux, and we have Katarina and Zed. Mid lane is so important, honestly. You can influence the entire map. You can roam constantly. Mid lane affects jungle more as well. If you, as the mid laner, are having a really good game, you're pushing and stuff, you're winning, it makes the jungler's life a lot easier, even if you don't realize it. Malzahar is just too easy to be effective with, but his main power is actually his mid game in team fights. People position really badly, and Malzahar can punish that with a flash R really easily. You catch them, you get a kill, and now it's 5v4. For these poke champions, you're controlling the game out of reach of the enemy team. Poke champions are really hard to play against. You need to engage quickly versus them, but that requires a team on the same page and picking a good fight and a good team comp, things that aren't exactly that easy to do in solo queue. Xerath, Ziggs, and Lux are all very good from range, and these three are really solid in gold. Finally, we have Zed and Katarina, the more selfish picks that can either hard carry or fall flat on their face. These can work out though. I don't think gold players have that bad mechanics, honestly. Just sometimes kind of lack the knowledge to know what they should be doing. You don't really need that much knowledge to face roll and blow people up though. AD carries, Misfortune, Twitch, Vayne as well, Tristana, Ezreal, these guys are all really good. The meta here isn't actually that much different to when you climb above that, which is why, to be honest, it's kind of a good thing actually. You learn now and it will benefit you all the way to diamond. AD carry is not the easiest role, and there aren't that many choices of champions either. Misfortune is actually the best here, but does fall off as you go up a little bit. The poke is very hard to play against, and she can build massive leads out of the lane phase. She's the easiest AD to play. She doesn't even feel like an AD carry. Especially Vayne, but also Twitch are these scaling options. Lane phase can be quite hard in preseason, so we pick scaling, we take Doran's shield, and we wait for team fights like a little pussy. These picks can fight early still, but they are mid-game monsters. Tristana is the middle ground though. Way more threat in the lane phase with her jump, but still powerhouse hyper carry that can actually carry late game. Ezreal is not quite as good anymore, but still very strong, partly because he can do so much damage from range and because he's just so safe. Finally, for the support then, we have Taric, Janna and Nami, and then Leona and the Blitzcrank. Supports can now carry pretty hard in the preseason. They can win the lane phase themselves and snowball from that advantage much easier. You've just got to focus on the lane play. Taric is a beast. Hard to kill, has an overloaded kit, is crazy, useful in any single composition, doing anything with good or bad AD carries. Janna and Nami are the more defensive mage ones, right? These guys can be a bit more aggressive in the lane phase, but ultimately they are very good at keeping people alive and dishing out some damage with Aerie. Leona and Blitzcrank are the true carry supports, right? These are designed to hammer people in the laner phase, then roam around. This playstyle is actually honestly closer to a jungler now than it's ever been before. Not so much in the lane phase, you don't roam then, but you kill people, you feed your AD carry, and then you move that into other lanes. So let's move on to Silver. Early game means a lot, but you need some kind of mid to late game scaling as well. Teams aren't going to be the best at ending games when they are ahead. If we move into the top lane, building an early game lead means even more than before. People aren't really building correctly every game either, so having a mix of tank and damage is an absolute dream for top laners here. Yorick and Temu are even better because they control the lane phase. Temu through poke damage and Yorick through, like, honestly, the sheer power after his Sheen. Both will punish players, bad players especially, take towers and really take over. Nasus, you've got the sustain here, so if you take a bad trade, it doesn't really matter, honestly, and the backup of if it goes late, you're a stacking Nasus, who will eventually just 1v9 ready. With tanks, being able to build tank but do damage is something most lower ranked players really cannot deal with. It's actually very hard to play against. For AD carries especially, they would have to position and kite perfectly, but just last until 3 items at least. Games don't go that long, and tanks can run around with crowd control and really mess them up. Junglers being able to actually carry means a lot more here, I think. You don't really want to rely on your team as much in being able to get ahead and use that lead is so important. Shyvana, Jax, and Udyr are very good examples. The farming ones again, but this time because they will have enough gold and items to be able to wreck a game. Jax is actually quite easy to counter early if you play it properly. That's why he's not on this like a gold, for example. But that doesn't matter if you aren't being invaded. He is a monster jungler. All 3 of these are able to gank, farm, and scale. Rammus is here for the same reasons why Malphite and Maokai and Garen work so well at top lane. Rammus can become almost unkillable if he gets ahead, and ganks are just not that difficult to pull off either with your Q and no wards. Jarvan is a gank machine who, again, can actually carry. This is the important part for Silver. Build damage and one-shot their backline. You will not fall off as hard as a Lee Sin, but you can gank harder than a Kayn. You're like the best of both. Mid lane win rates at Silver and Bronze are really weird, honestly. You have 2 opposites. You have the face roll and the safe stuff, and both work really well. Safe-wise, I mean, firstly, Morgana and Malzahar, both insanely strong because they have setup and catch potential, and honestly, just very hard to gank and kill the entire game. Morgana with her shield and a bind, and Malzahar with his passive shield. Then Malzahar can flash her, Morgana can bind with her Q. If people step too far forward, they will get caught and they will die. Poke again is very strong because you don't have to be anywhere near anyone to do damage. It's very safe, but very like hard carry style as well. The true carry stuff though, Yasuo, Zed, Katarina, Fizz. These are the champions that get ahead and honestly 1v9 the entire game, which can be really good here. They are more risky, they are a bit harder to play, but they are true carry mid laners, honestly. These are the ones that trust their mechanics and want to do it themselves. Sometimes that goes really well, sometimes not so much. When we get to these ranks as well, AD carry is not easy to play. Everybody wants to kill you. Vayne should honestly not be god tier, I don't think. She's a hard AD carry to play. She's not that safe either normally. But in preseason, you just get to late game, you right click, and you will just win the game. You are so nuts right now. Ezreal is the opposite. So safe with his E plus damage from range. You can kill people in lane, but you won't scare as well as the others. That's okay though, because you are just so safe and you won't die. Misfortune is the same as before in gold, building a massive lead early through poke damage that is not easy to play against. And you don't even feel like an AD carry really. Jinx and Tristana are both quite easy AD carries to play actually. Jinx with a passive and AoE rocket, so easy to do the damage. Tristana with her rocket jump and very easy to be safe. Both have high range and insane scaling. Moving on to support. Mage supports can be really good. Janna is one of them, but when the entire meta at this rank is designed to kill you, it can be pretty tough. Taric, Alistar, and Braum, these are the tanky supports who can fight, but they will frontline and keep their AD carry alive and their team alive as well. They can engage, they can peel, they have tons of crowd control and are really good in team fights. Leona and Blitzcrank are a bit more like early game focused, right? Less about peel, more about diving in, fighting, getting loads of kills, and then roaming around after the lane phase ends. Soraka, Janna, and Nami are all still pretty good, but they rely a bit more on your AD carry, and you are honestly going to be against a Blitzcrank every game, which can be pretty rough. Bronze can be really hard to get out of. So can Silver actually, when you're going to have to carry at this rank and win your lane. That should be your focus. Now, everyone always talks about picking easy champions, easy to play champions. And that is partly true, but I prefer to think of it more as champions that are hard to play against. So hard for the enemy team to beat you. That is the way I think you're going to climb the easiest. So for the top lane, you want to make sure that your way to carry is as simple as possible. You can 1v1 your lane as well. Yorick is quite an easy kit to use. You can poke, demolish towers. You can't really play fights wrong, honestly. He does so much damage though, and it's actually insane, especially with a lead and your split push. This might be a surprise, but Yasuo is crap early unless you're a god with him. Luckily here, you can int your ass off honestly and still end up just outscaling, auto-attacking and annihilating everybody. Yasuo is actually a very good champion to play against bad players. Temu, Garen, and Nasus are like the trinity of straightforward champions, easy champions, who are just very good at what they do though. Temu, you have to poke and use your Q occasionally. Garen, you run around and you spin. Nasus, you stack. They all have very clear ways to win. For junglers, ganking is going to be really important. You know the enemy team will tilt really hard if you put them behind, and the game is going to be a bloodbath. Rammus is very hard to play against, very tanky, very fast, and will actually kill you if he gets close as well. Shyvana, Udyr, and Jack still hard because they will farm up and eventually do a lot of damage, like the insane amounts. If you ever find them alone, they will kill you, and they get tanky, but they still burst you. Jarvan is hard because he'll gank you over and over. Without flash, you're basically dead every time. These ganks then turn into a Duskblade, and he's actually going to one-shot you. Amumu, Vi, and Warwick are going to make an appearance in the bronze tier here. Different style. They have really good engage here and crowd control and decent damage as well. Vi does have lots of damage. Amumu and Warwick, okay damage, but get tanky instead. The point is, crowd control and engage can catch people alone and punish them for being somewhere they shouldn't be. So we have loads of playstyles for the mid lane here actually, and a few surprise ones honestly. Carry picks still, like Yasuo and Zed, are really good. They can win the 1v1 and then roam around, but they will be able to one-shot people and have massive impact. I know telling bronze players to play Zed and Yasuo feels kind of weird because they're very hard champions, but even at a basic level, these guys are able to carry. They can really hurt, and against bad players, you won't be punished for your mistakes. Veigar and Diana are also very good in bronze because of the amount of damage they have. They can one-shot people so easily. Veigar brings in a massive AoE cage as well. Diana just brings absolute one-shot potential. These are hard to play against and survive against, and they can actually carry a game. You can also play safe picks like Morgana and Malzahar. If you aren't as comfortable or you just don't want to die, sometimes not dying can carry a game in a weird way. They still do have good damage as well, but just a lot of catch potential instead. Poke is a little bit harder at these ranks, but if you can stay safe and poke before fights, people will not really know what to do, and you will solo carry, I promise you. In the AD carry role, we're really looking for a scaling more than anything else, so when we get those kills, we can really use it, and lane phase can be really hard to play actually. Miss Fortune is too easy to play. She is so strong and bursts like a truck as well, so we're going to put that one on the list. Vayne and Twitch can be decent, but they aren't going to be stomping too many games early. Normally, I would say avoid them, but preseason has made them better at these ranks, weirdly. Tristana and Jinx are my go-to get-out bronze AD carries that I will recommend to anybody. These are easy to play, they have very high range, so they are very safe, really high damage, and they can even kill people early into the game as well. Tristana is super safe, whereas Jinx's passive just does the work for you and makes kiting so easy. With support, we really want to carry now at this rank, so we have three choices. You kill them yourself basically with Leona and Blitzcrank, engage, do a lot of damage with Aftershock and Ignite and stomp the lane that way. Alistair, Braum, and Taric require a bit more coordination with your AD carry, but they are amazing playmaking supports. Braum especially actually in bronze, in teamfights with his passive can honestly just win games. You could also play a mid laner, Azira and Xerath, the mages and stuff. These will carry with damage and top the damage charts. You have to be more careful, but if you don't die, you will be able to pump out insane amounts. So that is going to wrap up the God tier champions so far in preseason for each role and each elo. These are quite different from the ones I did last season. A lot of picks to shift about, but remember to like, subscribe, and all that lovely stuff. And for now, I'll leave you with robots.